Good evening. It's 17th of July. Oh, 17th of June 2020. It's all blurring in. So I'm re-furloughed from work. That's an interesting thing. So sorry about the delay between videos and stuff like that. There's been a lot of stuff in the news to process. A lot of news as far as various race equality things going on. Lots of things with COVID going on. It's really taken off in the Soviet Union. And all sorts of places like Brazil and India. Which means that the whole COVID thing is going to stretch out for a lot longer. So nobody knows what's going to happen. I'll just put it out there. A lottery win would be a great move right now. Really could do with that. So that's my ask from the universe. You know, good 5 million quid lottery win. Start setting up a few colonies. One good thing that happened though is that a somewhat long lost friend has got back in touch, which is great. This is why you don't change your email address. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I had a long chat with him, and he was one of those people you can just talk to for hours. Whoop. And I did. And he was of the opinion that there's possibly another species kicking around that's neurologically different, it seems, from a lot of other people. Yeah. So there's just no way of knowing. I mean, I score pretty highly on any given Asperger's test. You know, not quite a definite thing, but yeah. All sorts of weirdness going on. Oh look, you remember that big burnt patch from a few months ago? Yeah, it's almost completely healed. That's what happens when nature has a free hand, and that's been happening in the rest of the world. So thank you to all my Patreon sponsors. If you want to throw any money my way via Patreon, feel free to subscribe. There's a link at the bottom of every one of these videos. It's by no means mandatory. It sure is helping. But, you know, maybe a time when all my Patreon sponsorship needs to dry up. You know, and if you need it, just cancel it. I won't be sore. I'm not going to stop making videos. Your name will never be removed from the credits list, that sort of thing. But, yeah. Do feel free to put a like on there. If I'm boring you, walk away, go make a cup of tea. So yeah, so I did try and get on a web chat exclusive, seeing as I'm on the newsletter, sign up with Russell Brand, who's the sort of person we need to get that reach out there, but I'm, you know, losing hope fast. I don't know that there's anybody that would think, you know, just taking off and trying to sort out an example of what humanity might look like if we lived a more ethical and ecologically sound life. But I think that's one of the things we're going to need to do. But yeah, I think Syria's just banned all forms of contraception because the birth rate's fallen, which contrasts very deeply with an awful lot of other statistics. You know, and they've already proved that sanitary products keep girls in school for longer, as do contraceptives. And when you get educated women, you get a better standard of living and poverty decreases. So yeah, tell I haven't got much exercise in the last few weeks. And that's got to change. So yeah, lots going on. So yeah, my dream of forcing a Starfleet-like organisation into existence looks like it might die on the vine. But you know, it's one of those things. Could be the cheapest retirement plan any of us got. It could certainly be the best plan for funerals. Imagine how far your pension would go if you didn't have to pay rent or food or power bills. But yeah, you know, I imagine we could put housing together for like £2 a pop. Imagine how little you'd have to spend your money on if you had somewhere like that to go. But yeah, we can't all go. Not at once, dickhead. Not all at once. Maybe the seed of an idea. Use this knackered carcass of a society to become the womb of a new one. It'd be great. Imagine stitching that up. Just going, right, okay. We crowdfunded a new civilization. It's turning a profit. We're using all that profit to buy more land. So yeah, I guess it's too complicated an idea. Oh dear. But yeah. You don't think we couldn't earn less money than the tax barrier for a year, given that your job had a tied cottage or a room in a house and all the tools you could ever need to be creative and live free? You know, have someone be our, what they call in the Golden Compass, our chief liar, to go and do battle with society and get us registered as a religion. And there's a few thousands of us knocking around. It's obviously too complicated an idea. Too effective. But yeah. So the world be going to hell in a handbasket. There's very little we can do about it. So yeah, you know, what would Starfleet do? In fact, what would any group of competent people that you read about in fiction or see on TV, what would they do? What would the Minbari do, marooned on Earth? What would, you know, the Fremen do? We've already seen that the Fremen are capable of working in concert once they're persuaded of the benefits of it. And there was another group of well-organised dudes, you know, from a kind of mythology. I don't know how many of you out there have read Lord Fowl's Bane or any of the sequels, you know, from the Thomas Covenant series of books. I'm feeling like Thomas Covenant right now. Feeling like a leper. Anyway, the Thomas Covenant books are basically about this guy who is a leper and has lost a couple of fingers off his hand, off his left hand, And whether he's hallucinating or not, he gets bounced into an alternate reality as a result of a car accident. And while he's in his coma, he has all these weird fantasy adventures. But on those adventures, on the first one anyway, he meets a group of people called the Huruchai. They're like these, kind of like these warrior people. They're not monks, but they have a very ascetic view of life. Once their basic needs have been met, they don't really feel the urge to own stuff. But they've got a bunch of like warrior, the people who excel at fighting, called the Blood Guard. And these guys act as Thomas Covenant's bodyguards, particularly one of them called Banner. And the Blood Guard have a saying as regards to combat. I'm going to fall down now. Yeah. Whee. Yeah. So I'm still upright, that's cool. Now I'm going to fall down at some point. And it looks particularly normal. So the Blood Guard say, do not hurt when holding is enough. Do not injure where hurting is enough. Do not maim where injury is enough. And do not kill when maiming is enough. The greatest warrior need never kill. And it kind of stuck with me, and it stuck with me enough when I was younger. And I just remembered it the other day. It's kind of like a tread lightly on your opponent, for one day you may need him as a friend. Oh, but your new society's going to buy a load of stuff from outside. Yep. I'm going to reverse engineer it too. I'm going to see if we can reverse engineer it into a situation where we can make it ourselves from scrap. What happens if you run out of scrap? We're not going to. There's thousands of people lived before us. There we are by the river again. There we go. Yeah. So last week I did record another video, if you like, with a friend of mine, Miles, a lovely guy. You may have seen him on various bits. Has a YouTube channel called Uncle Doris and goes and videos bands and stuff. He's currently working for the Green Party in his off time. So yeah, that would have gone up, but I look like hell and the sound quality is not all that good. So if you still want to see that, I'll edit it. But I look like I've got rabies. There's froth all around my mouth. And it's because I was talking animatedly to someone I hadn't seen in a few months. So yeah. I can hear noisy people. You probably can too. So an eyeball. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a peaceful warrior, and the Blood Guard were the absolute example of that. Yep, you don't want to freak out the Eloi. You might not even notice that I was there. So yeah. And especially now, where you've got right-wing nut jobs running about, spouting all kinds of racist bullshit. Hopefully the people campaigning for racial equality in America and other places can hold their ground and stay peaceful. But that's only going to work for so long, and you can almost feel the corporate interests trying to get those right-wing people to do ever more violent things to the peaceful protesters. And it's America. How long? You know, I'm not sure I'd hold out too long if I was being shot at. You know, random nut jobs with guns taking pot shots at us. How long before someone thinks that's it, no more, and goes to one of these protests armed? I mean, it needn't even be a firearm, could be a baseball bat. You know, it could be a can of mace. And it so happens that said right-wing agitator's got a severe asthmatic reaction or some sort of chemical reaction, goes into anaphylactic shock and dies. So, yeah, keep it peaceful while you can. And then be prepared for it to be an armed conflict, I guess. I'm very interested in the Seattle City, or Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or CHAZ. See where that goes, but I'm very worried that it will end in bloodshed. Because that's what they do. I mean, you can't see the irony of police brutality being used against people who are peacefully protesting against police brutality. Not a lot of hope. So yeah. So I would love to see that continue, but you know, this is the thing. If you try and stand on contested land, that's going to be a problem. You know, it goes against every capitalist instinct. So you lose anybody that's doing well by the system as a supporter, because they think, quite rightly, that once you start doing that, if you have any sort of success, then you know, the peaceful protesters will be coming for their stuff. It's not true. You know, that's why I wanted a situation where 1 million people throw in a very tiny amount of money that they can afford to give away completely to build several locations so that the light doesn't go out. You know, several farmsteads type thing with enough land to feed a lot more people than we're going to put on them initially. I think you probably get about 20 people on each piece of land easily. And yeah, that's what would happen. So yeah, I wanted to do it peacefully. I wanted us to buy the land so the capitalist monsters were happy. You know, I'd want you know, those lands not to engender taxation for at least the first bit. So I would go with, you know, in some parts of the US there's an allowable portion of land where no taxes are demanded from you, land taxes by the various governments. I think it's a couple of acres in Texas. You know, you really can't see where we couldn't open up, you know, buy 50 acres and then split it up into 25 parcels of less than 2 acres. You know, start 25 companies in order to make it happen until we're established as a religion, and then those companies gift the religion with that land. You know, we need to look at where people have been successful in our current system and move like they do. You know, we need to move like them if we're in their environment, at least to start with, or at least until a viable religion is established, so it's completely tax-free. You know, and what would happen? All you need to do is those 1 million people, you know, need to sign an online form to say they're part of this new religion. You know, it's not hard. It could even be as few as 2,000. There's a lot of little religions out there that don't pay taxes on the land that their churches occupy. And if you started being a useful thing for that local community, then things would work. But I think, you know, communities need to learn to support each other. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. I don't know how long we've been recording for. I think it's about 20 minutes. So Please watch the video, please like and subscribe. Every subscription is a cool thing, raises our rep, push more on YouTube, fight the algorithm, you know. He's going to be fighting all kinds of AI things, so best learn how to do it now. But thanks for watching, do take care. Where am I going? Who's coming with me? And never get that order mixed up. And then I'll continue talking about this stuff till I die, or you find someone better. And if you find someone better, you better tell me. So that's what comments are for, keep them coming. Ooh, the water level's high because it was a thunderstorm last night. But yeah, so do take care. I'll see you next time.